Welcome to another powerful video here on Wisdom Ones. We are so glad to have you with us today. If you're here, it means you're ready to receive something incredible, something that has been waiting just for you. We want you to feel the impact of what you're about to hear, so we ask you to take a moment to comment the word sign below as a way to mark the beginning of this transformative journey together. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay updated with the wisdom and hope we bring to you. Together, we'll walk through this message with open hearts, and who knows, it could be the sign you've been waiting for. We are reminded time and again of God's perfect timing and His faithfulness in fulfilling His promise. Consider the story of Abraham, who was promised by God that he would be the father of many nations, yet waited years, long past the time when it seemed possible, before he saw the fulfillment of that promise. Abraham's waiting was not a sign of God's absence. It was a season of preparation. God was shaping Abraham's faith, teaching him to trust in His timing, even when the circumstances seemed impossible. God tells Abraham, "Look up at the sky and count the stars. If indeed you can count them, so shall your offspring be." This promise was made when Abraham was well into his years, yet the waiting became part of God's plan to show that His power and provision were beyond anything human effort could accomplish. Just like Abraham, we too are called to trust in God's sovereignty over our lives, even when the waiting feels long. Though we may not always see the way forward, God is faithful to keep His promises, and in His perfect timing, He will bring them to pass. The waiting is not in vain. It's a part of the process that prepares us for the blessings ahead. Now, as you are listening to this message, I ask you to open your mind and soul to receive the truth that is about to be shared. What I'm about to say might surprise you, but it is vital that you stay silent, focused, and open to everything coming your way. For the chosen ones, this is a message meant just for you. If you don't believe in Christ, you might not resonate with what is being shared, and that's okay. Feel free to turn away. But if you are a chosen one, a true believer, you will understand every single word I speak. Imagine standing at the edge of everything you've prayed for, everything you've hoped for, and yet it feels like it is slipping away from your grasp. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever reached the final stretch, especially as the year comes to an end, and wondered if God has forgotten the promises He made to you? Before you let go of hope, before you believe that everything is over, I need you to hear this. God is still writing your story. He has not forgotten you. The very mountains that seemed impossible to move, the obstacles in your life that you thought would never shift, God can move them in an instant. You may think time is running out, but the God who created time is not bound by it. He is the God who parts seas, who performs miracles when hope seems lost, and who turns endings into new beginnings. Chosen one, your story is far from over. The promises He made to you, the dreams He placed in your heart, they are still alive, and you are about to see them unfold in ways you never imagined. Even now, in these final moments of the year, I want you to believe that God can still break through, still answer, still transform. Your journey is not finished, not by any means. You might feel like you're at a dead end, like everything is slipping away. But I am here to tell you with absolute certainty that God is not finished with you. His plans for you are still in motion, and the breakthroughs you've been waiting for could be just around the corner. The mountains that stand before you can still be moved. The seas that block your path can still be parted. All you need to do is hold on and believe that God's timing is perfect, even when you cannot see it. It is easy to lose hope, especially when things don't go as planned, when prayers seem unanswered, and when doubts begin to creep in. But remember, hope is not a weak wish. It is a powerful, unshakable force. In Hebrews 19, it says, "We have this hope as an anchor for the soul, firm and secure." Hope in God is not a mere chance or luck. It is a living, breathing confidence that God is who He says He is, and that He will do what He has promised. Even if your dreams seem distant or out of reach, even if it feels like it's too late, don't lose hope. God is not limited by time. He holds time in His hands, and He moves through it as He pleases. When God makes a promise, He will fulfill it in His perfect timing, and not a moment too late. Think back to the Israelites standing at the edge of the Red Sea with Pharaoh's army closing in. They must have felt trapped, with no way forward. But at that moment, God's hand moved, and He parted the waters. He made a way where there seemed to be no way. And just as He did for them, He will do the same for you. Right now, in this moment, God is watching over you. Even as the year comes to an end, His power has not diminished and His promises are still in motion. Don't let go of hope now. Let it fuel you. Let it be the light that guides you through the darkness. Even if you've been praying for something for a long time, even if doubt is creeping in, remember that every prayer you've made has risen before God like incense. Not a single word, not a single whisper from your heart has gone unheard. It tells us that our prayers are before God, and they are not forgotten. Just as the widow in Jesus' parable kept knocking on the unjust judge's door, kept asking for justice, and eventually her persistence moved him to action, so too does God listen to our persistent cries. He is a loving Father, and He answers the cries of His children. Jesus Himself encouraged us to ask, seek, and knock, not just once but persistently, because sometimes the breakthrough doesn't come immediately. Sometimes it comes after a season of pressing in, of faithful asking. But the end of the year is not the end of God's power to answer your prayers. Right now, I want you to think about the breakthrough you've been waiting for, the answer that you've longed to receive. It could be just around the corner. God is faithful, and He will never forget His promises. So keep praying, keep lifting your needs, your dreams, your hopes to Him. Keep trusting that He is working, even when you cannot see it. Let this season be the one where your faith grows stronger, where your prayers become bolder, where you press deeper into God's presence than ever before. He is listening, and He can still answer in powerful ways before this year ends. When we speak of miracles, we are not talking about fairy tales or make-believe. Miracles are real. They are the manifestations of God's love and power in the world. In the Bible, we see God performing wonders not because people deserved it, but because He wanted to reveal His glory. He wanted to show His love and His power to His people. And He still does the same today. Think of when Jesus turned water into wine at the wedding in Cana. He didn't do it because the guests demanded it. He did it because He is generous. He delights in blessing His people. He loves us. If God can turn water into wine, if He can feed thousands with just a few loaves and fishes, surely He can move in your life in these last few weeks of the year. Are you ready to believe for a miracle? Are you willing to open your heart and your spirit to receive God's blessings, even those that go beyond what you've asked for? Don't limit God by what you can see with your natural eyes. He is working in ways that go beyond human understanding. Expect Him to move. Expect Him to open doors, to heal wounds, to bring life where there has been death. This could be a season of miracles in your life, a season where God shows up in ways that will astonish you. Keep your heart open. Keep your spirit expectant. Believe that the God of miracles is still working, even as the year comes to a close. Sometimes, in the silence, when the world feels still, and the weight of uncertainty presses down, you might wonder where God is. You might look around and feel as if your dreams are slipping through your fingers, as if every step forward leads to 2 steps back. But I want to remind you of something crucial. God is still at work. Right now, in this very moment, He is writing your story. Even if you can't see it, the journey you're on, the struggles you're facing, the doubts you're carrying, they are not the end of your story. They are just the middle. You may be sitting in a place where it feels like everything is on pause. The promises He spoke over your life may feel distant, and you may have even wondered if your prayers are being heard. But I assure you they are. Your faith is not in vain. You might not see the harvest yet, but trust that the seeds you've planted are growing in ways you can't imagine. In the moments when everything feels uncertain, God is still working, still making a way. Even when you can't see it, the most profound transformations often happen in the quiet, the waiting, and the trusting. The Bible says in 2 Corinthians 4:17, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all." What you're going through, though it may feel overwhelming now, is preparing you for something far in the struggles. In the waiting, God is refining you, building your character, deepening your faith, and preparing you for the future He has promised. It might not be the path you expected, but His plans are always greater than our own. Maybe you've been waiting for a breakthrough in your life, something that will show you that all the pain, all the hardship, all the sacrifice has been worth it. Maybe you've been praying for years, but the breakthrough hasn't come yet. Hold on to encourage you. Hold on. Don't let go of the vision God has given you. Even when it feels like it's taking too long, He is still working behind the scenes. The best is yet to come. You are in a season of preparation, a season of growth, and though it may feel slow, something powerful is happening inside of you. Your story isn't over. There is power in perseverance. There is power in believing, even when everything around you seems to contradict your faith. You see, God isn't bound by time. He operates outside of time. What may seem like a delay to us is simply God's perfect timing unfolding. When the time is right, you will see the manifestation of His promises. But until then, hold fast. Trust Him. Trust that He knows the beginning from the end and that He has not forgotten you. As you continue walking this path, remember that you are never alone. The Creator of the universe, the one who holds all things together, is walking beside you. Even when it feels like no one else understands, God does. He knows the depth of your pain, the longing of your heart, and the desires that you've kept hidden for so long. He sees you, He hears you, and He will answer you in His perfect time. It's 9 For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. We often try to understand God's plan from our limited perspective, but His plans are greater than we can imagine. When you trust Him, even when you don't understand, you are opening the door for His perfect will to unfold in your life. It might not look like what you expected, but I promise you, it will be better. Your faith, no matter how small it seems, has the power to move mountains. Just like a mustard seed, your faith can grow into something unshakable, something that cannot be moved, something that will bear fruit. It's in the quiet moments, when you feel like giving up, that God is strengthening your faith, building resilience, and preparing you for the breakthrough that's on the horizon. I want you to know that your story is still being written, even if the pages seem blank right now, or if the chapters feel dark and uncertain. Don't lose hope. You are being prepared for something extraordinary. The setbacks, the delays, the frustrations, they are not the end. They are the moments that shape you, refine you, and make you stronger. The dreams you've been holding on to, the visions God has placed in your heart, they are not forgotten. In fact, they are being brought to life in ways you can't yet see. The message is for you, the one who feels like they are stuck in the waiting, the one who feels like their prayers are unanswered, the one who's ready to give up. Don't give up now. Keep pressing forward. Keep believing. Keep standing. The best is yet to come. You may not see the full picture yet, but know that God is still working on your behalf. He is still writing your story, and it's going to be more beautiful than you can imagine. Let your faith rise. Let your hope burn brighter than ever before. No matter what you see with your natural eyes, remember that God is at work. Even in the moments of silence, even in the waiting, He is moving. So as you continue your journey, I encourage you to share this message with others who need to hear it. There are countless souls out there who are struggling under the weight of their calling, battling in silence, wondering if their faith is worth it. Be the voice that reminds them that God sees them, that He honors their faith, and that their reward is on it. As you walk this journey, don't walk alone. Subscribe to this channel and join a community of believers who are standing firm in faith together. Let's support one another, lift each other up, and encourage one another as we continue this journey of faith. I want to leave you with this. Your faith matters. Your prayers matter. Your dreams matter. God is not finished with you. He is not finished with your story. And the best is yet to come. Keep believing, keep trusting, and keep standing firm. God is with you, and He will never leave you. Sue. If this message has touched your heart, comment sign below to affirm that you believe in the promises God has spoken over your life. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button to stay connected to this community of believers. Let's walk this journey together, trusting in God's faithfulness every step of the way. So may you go forth with boldness, with faith, and with a heart full of hope. God is doing a new thing in your life, and the best is yet to come. Keep standing, keep trusting, keep believing, and know that you are chosen, you are loved, and you are never alone. As you journey through life, there will always be seasons where you feel like you're standing at a crossroads, where the path ahead is unclear, and the road behind seems filled with missed opportunities or unhealed wounds. It's easy to look at these moments and assume that they are indicative of something gone wrong, of God's absence, or of your own failure to make progress. But what if these seasons are not a sign of delay, but rather a time of divine preparation? What if the silence is not abandonment, but a sacred space where God is nurturing you, shaping you, and preparing you for something greater than you could ever imagine? The trials you face today are not punishments, nor are they signs that God has forgotten you. They are markers of a story that is unfolding in its own time, according to a divine blueprint. Every setback, every struggle, every moment of seeming stagnation is an integral part of your journey, an essential chapter in the greater story that God is writing for you. The truth is, God's ways are far beyond our understanding. In our limited human perspective, we often feel that we are in a state of waiting. We feel as though we are stuck in a place of limbo, with nothing happening and no visible movement. But from God's vantage point, the waiting is not wasted time. Every moment spent waiting is a moment where He is working behind the scenes, orchestrating every detail to ensure that when your breakthrough comes, it will be perfect in its timing and completeness. These waiting periods, it's easy to grow weary. The feeling of being stuck, the frustration of unanswered prayers, and the longing for change can take a toll on your spirit. You may start to wonder why things haven't shifted yet, why the promises God has spoken over your life haven't come to pass. Why are you still waiting? Why does it feel like the breakthroughs you've been believing for are just out of reach? When the waiting seems long and the path unclear, it's natural to question, to feel the weight of the moment, and even to grow disheartened. But I urge you, in these moments, do not lose heart. God's timing is perfect, even when it doesn't align with our expectations. Trust in His sovereignty, the truth that He is in control of every aspect of your life, even the moments of stillness and silence. The promises He has made to you are still alive and active, even if you can't see them manifesting right now. The waiting is not in vain. It's in these times of pause that God is at work, preparing you, shaping you, and positioning you for something greater. Thoughts and ways are higher than ours, and His understanding is beyond our comprehension. There may be things happening in the unseen realm that you cannot perceive, but know that God is working behind the scenes, orchestrating events and aligning things in your favor. You may feel as though you're walking in the dark, uncertain of your next steps. You may feel like you've lost your way, that the path ahead is unclear and the future uncertain. But I want to encourage you with this. Just because you can't see the way doesn't mean God isn't already paving it for you. Even in the darkness, He is illuminating the steps you need to take. Trust that He is leading you, even when you can't see the path. He is faithful to guide you and will never leave you to walk this journey alone. Sometimes, the most difficult part of the waiting is not knowing what's next, not having a clear picture of how things will unfold. But trust that in God's perfect timing, everything will fall into place. The promises He has spoken over your life will come to pass, just as He said. His word will not return void. What He has spoken over you, He will bring to fruition in the right time and in the right way. It's in the waiting that we learn to trust more deeply, to rely on God's wisdom and understanding instead of our own. It's in the waiting that we are refined, shaped, and molded into the people He's calling us to be. So, don't lose heart in the process. Trust that God sees the bigger picture. He knows the timing, He knows the way, and He knows what you need. His plans for you are far greater than anything you could have imagined. When the waiting feels endless, remember that the Lord is with you, and He will never fail to fulfill His promises. You may not see it now, but in due time, you will look back and see the beauty that came from the waiting. You will see how God has been working all along, and you will know that every moment of patience, every season of waiting, was worth it. Consider the lives of those who came before you, those who were called and chosen by God to accomplish incredible things. These were not people who had it easy. They didn't walk a smooth and straight path to their purpose. They experienced their own periods of waiting, of seeming silence from God and of confusion. Yet, in the end, their stories reveal the powerful, unshakable faith that can arise when one chooses to trust in God's timing. The same God who moved mountains for them is the same God who is working in your life today. He is faithful to complete the work He has started in you. There will inevitably be moments of doubt, times when you question yourself and wonder if you truly heard God correctly. In these moments, you may even ask if you are truly called for the task that God has set before you. When the road gets tough and the challenges seem insurmountable, it's easy to question whether you're equipped or worthy of the journey that lies ahead. The weight of uncertainty can be overwhelming, and in these moments, the enemy will seek to plant seeds of doubt in your mind. He will whisper lies, telling you that you're not good enough, that you're not strong enough, or that you're not capable of fulfilling the calling that God has placed on your life. But in the midst of these doubts, remember this truth. Your worth is not determined by your circumstances, your achievements, or the approval of others. Your worth is not measured by the standards of this world. It is not about how successful you appear on the outside, nor is it defined by the mistakes you've made or the failures you've experienced. Your worth is rooted in who God says you are. You are not defined by the opinions of people, nor by the shortcomings you may see in yourself. You are defined by the Creator of the universe, the one who formed you in your mother's womb and knew you before you were even born. God's opinion of you is the only one that matters, and His opinion has already been established. You are His chosen one, handpicked for a specific and unique purpose that only you can fulfill. God doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't randomly assign callings. If He has called you, if He has set a task before you, it's because He has equipped you, and He has a plan for you that is far greater than you can imagine. Your purpose is already woven into the fabric of your being, and it's in His strength, not your own, that you will fulfill what He has set before you. No matter how the world may try to define you, or how the enemy tries to make you feel small or insignificant, God's definition of you is unshakable. You are not just a random person on this earth. You are loved, you are valued, and you are destined for greatness. When doubt creeps in and the voices of uncertainty grow louder, take a step back and remember who you are in Christ. Your identity is not found in your accomplishments or in the validation of others. It is found in the unchanging love of a God who calls you His own, sees your potential. Even when you can't see it yourself, He sees the greatness within you, even when you feel weak and unworthy. Your worth is not up for debate. It is settled, defined by a Creator who has loved you from the beginning and who has a divine purpose for your life. In those moments of doubt, stand firm in the truth that you are chosen by God. Stand firm in the fact that He has set you apart for something extraordinary, and nothing in this world can change that. The lies of the enemy may try to shake you, but the truth of God's word will hold you steady. You are a masterpiece, a work of art created with care and purpose. And no matter how you may feel in this moment, God's plans for you are far greater than anything you could ever dream of. Your destiny is secure, and the greatness you're meant to walk into is already being prepared for you. So, when doubt tries to cloud your vision, when you feel like you're not enough, or that you've made too many mistakes, remind yourself of this truth. You are who God says you are. You are His chosen one, and your life has immeasurable value. Don't let anything or anyone take that truth away from you. Your calling is unique to you, and no matter the trials you face, God will see you through them. You are destined for greatness, not because of anything you've done, but because of the greatness of the God who has chosen you. Your worth is secure in Him. Keep walking in that truth, and watch as He unfolds His purpose for your life in ways that will blow your mind. As you continue to walk this path, remember that faith is not about having all the answers. Faith is about trusting in God, even when you don't understand. It's about surrendering your will to His, knowing that His plans are always better than anything you could devise on your own. It's in the moments of uncertainty, of waiting, of not knowing what comes next, that God refines your faith and strengthens your trust in Him. You are not alone on this journey. You are part of a vast community of believers who are walking through similar struggles, facing their own challenges, and trusting God for their own breakthroughs. We are all part of the body of Christ, and together we are stronger. When one of us stumbles, the others are there to lift them up. When one of us grows weary, the others are there to encourage and support. This is the power of community, and it is something that God has designed to help us persevere through the tough times. You don't have to walk this journey alone. You have a family of believers who are ready to stand beside you, pray for you, and cheer you on as you continue to trust in God's plan for your life. The waiting process can often feel like an endless and overwhelming journey, especially when the passage of time seems to stretch on without any visible signs of change. It's natural to feel a sense of frustration or confusion during these moments, even a sense of hopelessness creeping in as you wonder why things are taking so long or why the blessings you've been praying for seem to remain out of reach. There are times when you might question whether your prayers are even being heard or if your efforts are making any difference at all. The silence can be deafening, and it may feel as though you're in a place where progress is impossible and your dreams are too distant to ever come to fruition. It's during these moments that doubt and uncertainty can cloud your mind, making you wonder if all the waiting is in vain. But it's important to understand something vital about this season of waiting. Nothing happens by accident. Nothing is without purpose. While you may feel like nothing is moving on the surface, there is a profound process happening in the unseen. God is working behind the scenes, shaping and preparing you for the next chapter of your life, even if it doesn't feel like it. Every moment of waiting is not wasted. It's in these quiet, still moments that God often does some of his most significant and transformative work. He's not absent during this time. He's not indifferent to your struggles. In fact, he is right there with you, refining you, strengthening you, and preparing you for the blessings that are on the way. The waiting period can feel discouraging, especially when you're uncertain about what's to come, but it's during this time that God is cultivating something powerful in you. He's developing patience, a deeper trust, and a greater understanding of his timing. It's easy to want to rush the process, to move past the discomfort and impatience. Yet, God's timing is perfect, and the lessons he is teaching you in the waiting are essential for the journey ahead. You might not understand it now, but the challenges you face today are preparing you for the blessings and breakthroughs that are coming tomorrow. It's important to realize that growth happens in the unseen, and often, the most significant changes take place on the inside, long before they ever become visible on the outside. Just as a seed must remain underground, in the dark, before it can break through the surface and grow into a flourishing plant, you too are in a season of development. You are being prepared for something much greater than you can see right now. The frustrations, the doubts, and the struggles are part of the process that will strengthen your faith, refine your character, and increase your ability to receive the blessings that God has already set in motion for you. So, even though the waiting process may feel long and discouraging at times, it's never without purpose. God is working on your behalf, doing things behind the scenes that you cannot yet see. That this waiting season is not in vain, and that when the time is right, you will see the fruits of your patience and perseverance. Your faithfulness in the waiting will be rewarded, and the blessings you've been longing for will come at just the right moment, exactly when you need them most. Keep trusting, keep waiting, and keep believing. The best is yet to come. In the stillness of waiting, God is often doing his most transformative work in you. While the outer world may seem unchanged inwardly, God is at work, shaping and molding you for what is yet to come. It is in these moments that he is planting seeds of growth in your spirit. He's nurturing patience in your heart, teaching you to trust in his timing, even when it feels like it's taking too long. Patience isn't just about waiting passively. It's about waiting with expectancy, knowing that something beautiful is being prepared in the background, even if you can't see it yet. During this time of waiting, God is also working to strengthen your perseverance. This is the kind of perseverance that empowers you to continue moving forward even when the road ahead seems unclear, rough, or full of obstacles. It's in these moments, when the challenges appear insurmountable and the end goal seems far out of reach, that your perseverance is being tested and refined. The natural response to slow progress or an unchanging situation is often discouragement. You may wonder if the effort is even worth it, or if the promises you hold on to are ever going to come to fruition. These are the moments where it feels like the waiting is pointless. And yet, it's exactly in these times of struggle and uncertainty that perseverance is nurtured. Perseverance isn't just about getting through difficult times by sheer willpower. It's not simply about enduring because you feel like you have no other choice. Instead, it's about moving forward with hope, even when the way is unclear. Perseverance is pressing on with a heart full of faith, knowing that there is a purpose behind the waiting. Even if you can't see it right now, it's about continuing the journey, one step at a time, with the conviction that the outcome will be worth the wait. when the destination feels far off or hidden in the distance. Perseverance allows you to keep walking, even when the path feels uncertain. It teaches you to take each day as it comes, trusting that every step brings you closer to where you're meant to be, even if you can't always perceive it. This is the kind of perseverance that doesn't look at the obstacles in front of you as roadblocks, but as opportunities to grow stronger, more resolute, and more faithful. It's the perseverance that believes, despite the struggles, that something greater is on the other side. There is power in pressing forward with perseverance, not because it's easy, but because it's a declaration of trust. It's a declaration that, even in the toughest moments, you are still choosing to believe in the promise that God has something better ahead for you. It's about pushing past the moments of doubt and continuing to hold on to hope, knowing that the promise of better days is still there, even if the journey feels long and filled with setbacks. Perseverance is the strength to keep walking by faith, to keep believing when the world around you tries to make you doubt, and to keep going even when it feels like the destination is nowhere in sight. And in doing so, you will discover that the waiting was never in vain. Furthermore, God is deepening your trust in Him. Trust is one of the hardest things to nurture, especially in a world that values control and instant gratification. But trust in God is something different. It's the kind of trust that rests in knowing that He is in control, even when circumstances seem to say otherwise. It's the kind of trust that believes, even when you can't see the outcome yet, that God is good and that His plans for you are filled with hope. Trust in the waiting is not about relying on what you can see, but on the assurance that God's ways are higher than your own, and He is always working for your good. Through the waiting, God is not just asking you to wait passively. He is preparing you. He is cultivating the qualities you need to walk into the new season He has in store for you. And though it may feel like nothing is happening, know that behind the scenes, He is orchestrating a beautiful future for you. In the waiting, He is laying the groundwork for breakthroughs, blessings, and answers to prayers that will come at the right time. So, hold on, your waiting is not wasted. It's a sacred time of preparation. Keep trusting, keep persevering, and know that in the fullness of time, God's promises will be revealed in your life in ways that will exceed your wildest expectations. Patience is being developed in you. Patience not only to wait for the things you long for, but also patience with yourself and with others as you navigate the process. Perseverance is also being built. You are learning to keep going even when the road feels long and when there is no immediate sign of progress. This endurance is vital because it prepares you for the future challenges and victories that you will face. God is teaching you how to stand firm, to hold on to His promises, and to remain faithful even when the circumstances around you suggest otherwise. Trust is another key aspect of this waiting period. As you wait, God is teaching you to rely on Him more fully, trusting that He has a perfect plan even when the timing doesn't make sense, trusting that He is not withholding anything good from you, but rather He is aligning everything according to His will and His timing. It's a profound exercise in surrender, surrendering your need for control and letting go of the fear that comes with uncertainty. As you trust Him in the waiting, you are being prepared for the next season of your life, the season where all that you've waited for will begin to manifest. The breakthroughs, the blessings, and the answers to your prayers that you so long for are being prepared even now. They are being woven into the fabric of your life, sometimes hidden from view, but always moving towards their appointed time. You may not see them, but know that they are coming. And when the time is right, when God knows you are truly ready, He will release them into your life in ways that will exceed your expectations. The waiting is not in vain. It's a necessary part of the journey that prepares you to receive everything God has in store for you. When the breakthrough comes, it will not be just a small victory. It will be a testimony of God's faithfulness, a testimony that will inspire others to trust Him in their own waiting periods. The miracles you are waiting for will serve as a sign to others that God is real, that He sees them, and that He is working on their behalf as well. Your breakthrough will be a beacon of hope to those who are struggling, a light that will shine brightly in the darkness and remind others that their prayers have not gone unheard. So I encourage you today, hold on, don't give up. Trust that the God who began a good work in you will carry it to completion. Even if you don't see it yet, even if you don't understand it yet, trust that God is at work. So timing is perfect. and His plan for you is flawless. You are in a season of preparation, and when the time is right, God will open the doors that no one can shut. He will bring the breakthrough that you've been waiting for, and He will do it in a way that only He can. You may not see the full picture now, but know that God's hand is upon your life. He is guiding you, protecting you, and leading you toward the future He has prepared for you. The journey may be long, but it is worth it. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a step closer to the fulfillment of God's promises for you. The waiting may be difficult, but it is also essential. It is a part of the process that will lead you to the place where God's glory will shine most brightly in your life. As you continue to trust in God's plan, I want to encourage you to share this message with others. There are so many people who are struggling with doubt and fear, who are feeling like their prayers are unanswered. Be the one to encourage them, to remind them that God is still working, that He is faithful, and that His promises are sure. Share the hope that you have found in God and watch as it spreads to others who need to hear it. You are not just a recipient of God's blessings. You are also a vessel of His light, a conduit for His love and truth to flow through to others. If this message has touched your heart, take a moment to comment sign below to affirm that you believe in the promises God has for your life. If you haven't already, subscribe to the Wisdom Ones channel and stay connected to this community of believers who are walking through this journey together. As you go forth, remember that you are chosen, you are called, and you are loved. Your story is still being written, and the best is yet to come. Keep trusting, keep believing, keep praying. God is with you, and He will never leave you. Your faith, no matter how small it seems, is powerful. You are about to see God move in your life in ways you never imagined. Keep your eyes fixed on Him and watch as He opens doors, moves mountains, and brings you into the fullness of His promises. Your breakthrough is coming. Your miracle is on the way. Trust the process, trust the timing, and know that God is always working. Even when you can't see it, keep believing, keep standing, and never let go of the promises He has spoken over your life. You are His chosen one, and the best is yet to come.